Badminton. It's a racket sport that is played either by two opposing players or by four opposing players, that is singles or doubles. So this game is main objective is to score points by grounding the shuttle on the opponent's court. It's played till 21 points with dues as an exception. So the dues is basically when either of the teams reach 20 all, and the game will be won by the team or player that scores two consecutive points. So if this practice carries on, then the player or the team that scores the 30th point will be declared the winner. So this game, it is originated in England and has from there spread everywhere. 1934, the Badminton Association of India, which is responsible for almost all the Indian championships and tournaments, uh, was founded. So the court and equipment. So the badminton court is marked out with the 40 millimeter wide lines, and the post is 1.55 meters tall. That is the post on which the net is hanged. So the net is of a fine cord, which is dark colored, and it is of 15 millimeters or 20 millimeters uh, in volume. In the depth, length, and thickness of the cord should be 15 millimeters or 20 millimeters. So 760 millimeters in depth and 6.1 meters wide is the net's length and breadth. There's a 75 millimeter white tape that is placed on top of the net. The shuttle, the material can be either natural or synthetic, and it should have 16 feathers fixed to the base. The feathers should have a uniform length between 62 millimeters to 70 millimeters, and when it should and the diameter should be of 58 millimeters to 68 millimeters. So the base of the shuttle shall be about 25 millimeters to 28 millimeters, and the weight, which has to be specific, which is 4.74 to 5.5 grams. So testing the speed for shuttle is with a full underhand stroke to test the speed of the shuttle. The shuttle, once it's hit, should not land less than 553 centimeters and not more than 99 centimeters short of the other back boundary line, basically the opponent's back boundary line. So the racket is 680 millimeters in length and 230 millimeters in width. As you can see, this is the court and the measurements I mentioned whole, and this is the complete length of the court, that is 44 feet, and the breadth is 20 feet. So the racket, I said that the racket has a few parts which nowadays we kind of don't we kind of call it as common names like the grip and the net and the racket. We don't call it the racket head, we just call it the racket net and whatever it is. So the racket head is this whole area on which the net is placed, and then there's the shaft which leads to the handle and the grip on from where you grip the racket. So a toss. So a toss is basically conducted at the start of the game, and it shall be so the winning side shall choose either to receive or to serve, or they may choose on which court they want to play the game, want to start the game. So a match, as I mentioned, it consists of 21 points. Whoever wins it wins the game, wins that match. So a game is of three matches. It consists of three matches with 21 points each. So after each 11 point game, after any team or player scores 11 point, there's a switch with 60-second interval, and after the end of one match, there's a 2-minute interval. Service errors. So it is a service error when when the service has been served and the receiver is not ready, or the shuttle or when the server has served or received out of turn, or when the player has served or received out of turn. So next, faults. So it is a fault when the service is not corrected, when any of the service errors are not corrected. The shuttle is stuck on the net and hit by the receiver's partner. If the shuttle is stuck anywhere or it lands outside the boundary line, it passes under the net while the match is in play, it's a fault. That means the point will be deducted by the player or the team making the fault. If the shuttle touches the ceiling or the side walls or the dress of the player or anything that is not the racket, then it is a fault. If the shuttle is carried, that means if the shuttle is dragged by the racket net. So if the opponent invades if the player invades his opponent's court, then it's a fault. And if the player also distracts the opponent, then also it will be counted as a fault. Lets. So lets is basically to halt a play when the server serves when the player is not ready, when the receiver is not ready, or the shuttle is caught on the net after receiving the service. The shuttle is dismantled or broken. If there are any distractions, exterior distractions, or any shouting or howling that distracts the player. If there's a doubting decision by the umpire, and if any of these situations prevail, then the play will resume from the last serve, and the previous point will not be counted. So this is for serving. As you can see in singles, this is the area of play during serving. Only this much. The side boxes are not counted in singles. You can see here as well. The side boxes are not counted. But in doubles, the area of play is the complete area, the whole court, except during service, in which the back box is not counted as an area of play. So in service, you always serve cross-court service. You cannot serve parallel. And let's talk about a bit about the service rules. So when you're doing a service, you need to keep your racket below your racket head below the hip level, and your shuttle must hit the base of the base of the racket. So the procedure is like the player is ready for this, and you can only serve once the opponent player is ready for receiving the service, or else it will be a service error. So the officials, there are officials like the referee, who is the overall in charge of the tournament itself, and he has to make sure that everything is according to the rules of the BWF, that is the Badminton World Federation. Then there is the umpire, who makes sure that the scoring is on point, and the he's the final one to take the decisions from the service judges and the line judges. So he makes sure that the game is played in fairly, and he executes the rules of the Badminton World Federation. So the line judge makes the call if the shuttle lands in, out, or on the line, and his decision goes to the umpire, who later appeals the decision finally. The service judge, he tells it that he's responsible for seeing that if the service is correct and if it's delivered properly. As I mentioned, the service rules, he makes sure that they take place perfectly. So the importance of footwork. So footwork plays a very important role, as badminton is a fast game and you need faster reflexes. So you need to be on your toes, your knees bent, and in a relaxed position, waiting for play. So you move your feet by shuffling them or gliding them left to right, and stepping or lunging forward. And to move backward, you need to go fast enough that you get behind the shuttle to hit it hard enough. The main objective, of course, is don't allow the shuttlecock to drop. So service. There are two types of services here, high serve and low serve. So high serve is used during singles play to move your opponent as far back in the court. So the service is basically you can see the trajectory. You serve from here. In doubles, if you're doing a high serve, you'll be trajectory number 2. that will be right here, right before the back box line. And in trajectory number 1, we see that it's a high serve in the back box at the ending. So the low service is basically used mostly in doubles when you lift the shuttle slowly and the shuttle skims through the net and just lands after the service line. So you get your opponent forward so that you can play the shuttle later backwards, back to the back box. So forehand and backhand shots. So forehand shots are played mostly for a right-hander. So you can see here there is a forehand shots. You can play it over your head and under your head. So overhead it's generally known as a toss, and under it's known as a lift in the general term. So overhand shot, you play the shuttle from right over your head, and a lift you lunge and then you play the shuttle from below. So a backhand is played, as you can see, this grip is the backhand grip and this is the forehand grip. So a backhand is played, of course, with the backhand grip. Sometimes with the backhand shot, you need to face your body away from the court, and then you need to play the shuttle towards the opponent. So it's mostly wrist movement. So you move your wrist you use your wrist power to move the shuttle. And the same thing for the backhand for the backhand drop lift. You need to lunge forward and you need to play the shuttle with your wrist. So the clear shot is basically where the shuttle follows a deep trajectory. That means you hit the shuttle over your head and the shuttle goes high and then it suddenly drops at the back box. So it's like a slope and then it's a sudden drop, like a cliff. So you have to face straight and you have to play the shuttle from right over your head. So the attacking clear is played a bit ahead of you. It's played ahead of your head, and it's like straight. It's more like when you want the opponent to move faster and you want to play the shot somewhere else once the opponent gives you back the shuttle. So it's played fast, and the trajectory is somewhat what you can see here. It's straight, and then it drops. So a drop shot is you swing the racket slowly, and it's a very slow shot that you can see here. The slow drop shot. You make the shuttle skim through the net and fall right below, right in front of the net on the opponent's court. So the trajectory you can see here. The fast drop shot, you play the shot a bit more faster. It's like a quicker shot, just that it lands after the service line. So a smash shot is most like the killing shot. You finish your rally or knock with it. So in this shot, you play a forehand stroke and you play it with all your power and might in front of your head, like about just before shoulder level. So the Badminton Association of India. So the Badminton Association of India was founded in 1936, as I mentioned, and it has 28 state members, and it conducts uh, badminton tournaments in India, and it's responsible for almost all the badminton tournaments that are held in India. So its headquarters are in Lucknow, and it was registered under the Societies Act at that time when it was founded. The Badminton World Federation is basically under the Olympic Committee, and it was founded in 1934, and it's responsible for the rules of the international championships. So when it was formed, there were only nine members, 9 state members, but now there are 176 member nations. So the headquarters currently are in the Kuala Lumpur, which was previously in Cheltenham, but now it's shifted to Kuala Lumpur. So it is the major cups that it organizes is the World Championship and the Thomas Cup, the Uber Cup for women, and the Olympic Games with cooperation to the IOC. So the national and international tournaments. So first, I'll talk about the All India Indian Open Badminton Championship. So this is Yonex Sunrise India Open symbol, which basically Yonex had sponsored a few years back. So this championship takes place annually, and it is being held since 1981. This tournament is basically now it's been kind of the Badminton World Federation has been giving it a lot of support, and now it's been a part of the Grand Prix World Tournament. So this is PV Sindhu with her golden medal for winning the Badminton World Championship and gaining the title of the World Champion of Badminton. So this championship is held um, every year in the current in today's times, but previously it was held with the Olympics with the Summer Olympic that took place. So this championship originally started in 1977, and at that time it was held once every 3 years until 1983, and then they wanted more people to be encouraged and they wanted more world champions, so they started holding it every year. So that is the Badminton World Championship, and this is the last but a very important cup known as the Thomas Cup, which is also known as the World Men's Team Championship. So it's a doubles championship, and it is an international championship which is held by the Badminton World Federation again. It has been played since 1982 and is held every 2 years. So there are 16 teams, and these teams compete, and there's a host nation among these teams to compete for the Thomas Cup. And it was founded by George Allen Thomas, who's the and just a fun fact: Indonesia has won most of the times when the Thomas Cup has been played.